Donald Trump's possible legal defenses suffered a major blow this week when a man named Ken Block wrote an op-ed that was published in USA Today. And in this op-ed, Mr. Block explains that Donald Trump is lying about voter fraud in the 2020 election. Now, why does that matter? Who is Ken Block and why should I care about this op-ed? We all know Trump's lying about it, right? Well, Mr. Block happens to be the CEO of the Simpatico Software Company. Simpatico Software Company is the company that Donald Trump contracted after the 2020 election, but prior to January 6th. Donald Trump hired this man and his company, Ken Block and Simpatico, to go and find the voter fraud so that he could use it to successfully overturn the 2020 election results. Mr. Block was the guy in charge of that. And Mr. Block, as he explains in this USA Today op-ed, says, I looked. I did the investigation. I am the expert. And what Donald Trump asked us to find simply doesn't exist. Donald Trump paid millions of dollars to not just this company, there was at least one other company, to go and find the fraud. And every company that he contracted came back and told him the same thing. There is no fraud. Let me read you part of what Mr. Block said in his op-ed. I am the expert who was hired by the Trump campaign. The findings of my company's in-depth analysis are detailed in the depositions taken by the Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. The transcripts show that the campaign found no evidence of voter fraud sufficient to change the outcome of any election. That message was communicated directly to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. The cries that the election was lost or stolen due to voter fraud continue with no sign of stopping. The constant drumbeat hardens people's hearts and minds to the truth about the 2020 election. Emails and documents show that the voter data available to the campaign contained no evidence of large-scale voter fraud based on data mining and fraud analytics. More important, claims of voter fraud made by others were verified as false, including proof of why those claims were disproven. What these claims don't take into account is that voter fraud is detectable, quantifiable, and verifiable. I have yet to see anyone offer up evidence of voter fraud from the 2020 election that provides these three things. My company's contract with the campaign obligated us to deliver evidence of voter fraud that could be defended in a court of law. The small amount of voter fraud I found was bipartisan, with about as many Republicans casting duplicate votes as Democrats. So, in other words, Trump paid me lots of money to go find this thing so he could overturn the election, and I had to go back to him and say, the thing you want doesn't exist. Thank you for your money. Do you know how bad that is for Donald Trump's legal defense? Now, again, as Mr. Block points out, he already testified in front of the January 6th Select Committee. There's transcripts of that, there's depositions, all of that. It's already been done. But what's going to happen is that when Jack Smith goes to trial, the one in front of Judge Tanya Chutkan, he's probably, I have to imagine that Mr. Block has already received notice that he is going to be a witness at that trial. And Mr. Block is going to get up on that stand, and he is going to tell the entire world that Donald Trump was told by him through the data analysis. He was shown everything I had, and every claim that he had made was completely debunked in this evidence that I handed him. That is what we are all going to hear. Assuming, of course, it's televised. If not, we'll hear about it at the end of the day when reporters that are in the courtroom write their stories about it. But either way, it doesn't matter if the world hears it at the time. The jury's going to hear it. The jury's going to hear that Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, everybody else was told what you're saying is not true. And then they're going to be told by the prosecution that even though these people were told it wasn't true, even though this group of Trump lawyers were telling them what you're doing is illegal, Trump ignored it. He ignored the data. He ignored the good lawyers. He went with the, loony lawyers. And he tried to overturn the results of the 2020 election. I don't see how Donald Trump's attorneys overcome this. This man, Ken Block, should be considered the star witness at the Trump trial for the January 6th and the attempts to overturn the election. This guy went through the data personally, hoping to find the fraud. And even he says, It doesn't exist. Trump is a liar. I'm pretty sure a jury is not going to take too kindly to that against Donald Trump. Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.